Glitter DTF Transfer Film. We're going to be able to do the DTF hack and turn it into glitter. Hi, I'm crystalAnn. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my crafting tutorials. Every time we do a DTF hack, I swear I get more and more excited every single time. But this one right here, I'm living for it. Now, these are going to be a cold pill. So if you guys have not seen, there's actually a hot pill. We did this t-shirt right here, along with a really fun glitter tote bag. So I'll have that linked above or down below so you guys can check it out. We're going to test out two different films today. The first one is Off Nova. This is the brand that I have been using for a very long time, and it was actually you guys that brought these to my attention. So where I have it linked down below to purchase the transfer film, it was showing you guys the glitter version. I had never seen it before, and some of you guys was like, hey Crystal, where's the film? These are glitter. And I'm like, glitter? So I went and looked and I thought, why have I not seen this? I'm ordering it right now. Well, then I had Yamation reach out to me at the same time, and they wanted to send me their film to test out as well. I said, send it on, because we're also testing out a video. I've actually been linking you guys to their brand because they do sell the DTF films in 8.5 by 11, because Off Nova, I can't find it anymore. It's normally just A4 sheets that you can find, which we still use, obviously. But if you guys do want the 8.5 by 11, they do sell it. Now, this is 8.5 by 11, and I want to say this is A4. So A4, 8.5 by 11 today. We're going to put both of them to the test. I want to see how they look, how they're glitters, and then we're going to see how they wash. Now, whenever it comes to the powders, you guys know this one is my absolute favorite. It's the one I normally use with that Off Nova brand. So I'm going to use the Yamation brand with their glitter just to have the same combo there. So if you guys are curious or interested in a different powder, you guys can check this one out. Now, if you guys seen this video, this is the same powder that I use with their regular DTF film. Let's head on over to Canva to size out our designs. I'm using this design right here on one, as well as this design. So we're gonna glitter both of these guys today. So let's go ahead and start to size these out. I'm just gonna grab a corner here and then just drag these guys out as big as I can, and then we'll kind of center them up. I like to leave just a little bit on the side, especially if you have issues with the wheel marks. I just kind of leave a little bit there, as well as a little bit at the top for my tape. So you guys know with that DTF hack that we have to have a little bit of room at the top. All right, so this one's ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and size out the next. Now that I have both of these sized out, we are ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit share, and then I'm going to hit download. It's gonna download both of these at the same time for me so we can get ready to print them out. The very first design we're going to use is this one right here. We're just going to drag and drop it into our Sawgrass Smart folder, and this is going to allow us to get ready to print it pretty quickly. So I'm going to do this one first. We're going to do it on the white t-shirt, and I'm going to start with that Off Nova brand. So let's go ahead and start with this guy. I can't print this until we get it taped down to the paper. So if you guys have not been following along with this DTF hack, I'm going to show you how easy it is to send it through your printer. Now, if you guys are going to be using the inkjet printer, you don't have to. You're just simply going to slide this inside of your printer, and it's going to be ready to go. Starting off with the Off Nova, it looks like this. I'm hoping you guys can pick up that glitter specs. So we have a matte side as well as a glossy side. So the DTF film that I usually use has the glossy side because this is the brand. This is Off Nova, and that's how they do theirs. I'm going to say with Yamation, it's probably going to be matte on both sides because that is how their regular film was. So the very first thing I want to do, because this one is A4, is I'm going to take and trim off that little bit just to keep it nice and straight from a paper. So I'm going to trim off that little bit, taking it to the 11 inches. All right, so let's get ready to tape it to our paper. Once again, if you guys are new here, you're going to want to use a piece of copy paper. You could definitely use your sublimation paper, but I wouldn't waste it. Copy paper is just fine. You want to put that glossy side down. If it's going to be matte, which we'll show you in a minute, you just want to figure out which side you're actually printing on, and then you're going to put the print side obviously up. All right, so I'm gonna get a little piece of tape here. We're gonna get a little bit of this right here at the top. Just a little bit is all we need. I'm gonna go ahead and get that crease mark going first. It really just helps to get it going. So I'm just gonna open this guy back up. We're gonna take that paper, lining it up, just making sure everything's nice and straight, just like that. And we're going to tape it down. Once you have your tape on, you should have something that looks like this. So you have your film and then you have your paper. So the paper is going to go face up, tape inwards. All right, so now that we have that loaded, we're going to go ahead and hit print. Now, while this guy is printing out, you want to go ahead and get your parchment paper as well as your powder ready to go. I also have my Cricut Easy Press ready to go at 385. So we are going to use the Cricut Easy Press today to cure the powders. You could definitely use a griddle. If you guys have not seen that video, make sure you check it out. I'll have it linked above or down below because it's an amazing hack. You guys can find those at the thrift store and you probably have one laying around the house. And there we have it. It's printed out. It looks gorgeous. I'm going to bring it up here for you. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about the wheel marks when it comes to your Epson printers. Now, I don't use an Epson, so please, if you guys don't mind, comment down below and let me know, where is the wheel marks? Are they on the side? Are they on the middle? I'm trying to make sure I can help you guys and get that figured out. One thing I would recommend is changing your paper settings to the glossy settings, so maybe the wheels will back up a little bit. Changing that paper may help those wheels pick up and down. All right, so we're gonna work pretty quickly while our inks are wet. We're gonna go ahead and get some on here, just like so. A little goes a long way. We're going to get this guy covered just like this. I'm so excited for this glitter. If you guys have checked out the glitter, let me know down below. Or if you guys are super pumped about this hack, definitely let me know. What is the very first thing that you guys are going to be making? Are you guys going to get the supplies and check it out? Once again, you guys can follow along with your inkjet printers. If you're going to use the color, make sure you guys put it on items that are not going to be washed, like a canvas tote bag. Or if you have an inkjet printer that is pigment ink, you can wash the colors. All right, so here we go. It's ready to go. We're gonna get this guy out of the way. I'm gonna put this back in the jar. As usual, I'm coming in with my little vacuum to clean up any sort of messes and debris. Bringing in my Cricut heat pad. Once again, this guy's at 385. You're gonna need that to cure your powder. Remember, if you're going to be using your Cricut Easy Press, do this at your own risk because it's obviously dangerous. You're flipping it upside down. I still highly recommend using the griddle, but I'm recording it. Just makes it a little easier for me. And if you guys are doing it and you're finding it successful, I love that you're using it because it's awesome. All right, so here we go. We're going to go down just like this. You want the powders face up, and you're going to start to see this thing come to life. The 385, in case you guys are wondering, is activating your sublimation inks. If you guys are doing this hack with your inkjet, all you simply have to do is have it at the 300 degrees. You don't have to come all the way up to 385. Now, once again, if you see spots that need a little extra help, they're not super flat, you can just use your tweezers to push down on any area. Highly recommend stay off of your design with the tweezers. We've done that before. You could see a couple dots in the video. I noticed it whenever I edited back what the problem was, and so did you guys. All right, so we're gonna take those tweezers, pull this guy off. We're gonna set it aside, and I'm gonna flip this guy back over. So one thing is you could definitely use some heat gloves. You wanna carefully grab that handle underneath and then just flip that guy back. I'm going to go ahead and drop the temp here now to 300 degrees. But if you're doing multiple projects, go ahead and cure everything first before you drop it down. Now, if you're somebody that loves to follow along and you're not doing the DTF hack, you can still accomplish the same project using sublimation, or you can also use your Cricut and maybe cut this out with some heat transfer vinyl. For the first one, we're going to put it on a white t-shirt. I really want to see how this pops. So we're going to do that. So I'm just going to get it smoothed out. I'm simply using a Gildan t-shirt. I love to buy my shirts from a clothing shop online. I've been buying from them for years, and they always have a promo code. The more you buy, the more you save. And I always like to buy my shirts in bulk. So I'll buy 10 at a time, 20 at a time of one color and stuff. And then it makes them, well, pre-pandemic, they were like $1 something a shirt. I think they're around $2 to $4 a shirt. I'm not too sure. You guys let me know. I have not had to restock in a little bit. Once again, I buy my stuff in bulk. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and while this is lowering the temp, I'm going to pre-press my t-shirt because this will help speed up the lowering of that temp because it's pulling out the heat from the iron. So this is going to pull out any sort of moisture, smooth everything down. Now we're going to go ahead and take that lint roller and remove any sort of lint or debris so nothing gets trapped underneath our transfer. Taking our design here, you can just fold this guy in half to figure out that placement, pinch the top there. And then we're gonna follow that neck tag, and you wanna come down around 4 fingers or so. That looks good to me, just kind of making sure it's nice and straight. Let's go ahead and take some heat tape. If you guys have not been following this hack here with the DTF film, it is not sticky like our heat transfer vinyl, so you definitely need to get some tape here and hold it down just like you would if you were using sublimation. Next up, let's go ahead and grab a parchment paper. Now we're just simply gonna go ahead and cover this guy up with a piece of parchment. What do you guys wanna see next? Do you guys wanna see more tips and tricks whenever it comes to your DTF hack? Or do you guys wanna see it on certain things like canvas? I've seen that requested, I've seen wood, I've also seen mugs. What do you want to see me test this on? What I was thinking is I wanna see all of your guys' ideas down below, and I'll roll all of that into one video. We'll do like the ultimate DTF hack testing many items. So it'll be one video testing everything that we possibly can. So like I said, if you want to see this put on something, I've even seen those wind spinners that I actually have coming, so stay tuned. We could test all of those things. So like I said, down below, what do you want to see next? Also, if you guys want a little bit of a behind the scenes or you want to see my videos early, you guys can actually do that by joining my YouTube membership and joining the Besties. There's actually 2 levels. If you join the Besties, you guys are going to get behind the scenes. You're going to know what I am recording next. You're going to get early access to it as well. We are officially ready, 300 degrees for 20 seconds. We're gonna grab that heat press, go right on top, hit the go button, and we're gonna stay nice and even pressure right here in the middle. All right, so here we go. We're gonna lift this guy out of the way. Remove our parchment paper. Now remember, this is a cold pill, so we wanna let this guy completely cool down. We are going to remove our heat pad because that will help speed up the process. This usually takes around 2 minutes or so when you completely let it cool on its own. Now, if you have granite or cooling stone, you can definitely speed up the process. So all you simply have to do, for granite, for example, flip it upside down and then just rub the back side of the t-shirt, and it's gonna speed up that process. Whenever you do that, it speeds it up to like 15 seconds. It is so fast to do it that way. All right, so the moment of truth, here we go. I cannot wait to see the sparkle. So let's go ahead and see how it's gonna pill. All right, so we're gonna get a corner here. Oh my gosh. It peeled off like an absolute dream. My watch went off at the same time. I'm gonna shut it down. It peeled off like an absolute dream. Look at that. Can you guys see that? Like everything came off so good. So let's check out that sparkle. Hopefully you guys can see it. Those colors look phenomenal. Hopefully you guys can see that sparkle. I really hope you guys are picking that up. Let me see if you guys can see it on the red. I love it so much. Look at how awesome that looks in its own. It is so cool. It feels really good. So this is that same brand that I have been using for almost a year now, testing this hack, which is the Off Nova, like I said. This is their glitter. It looks amazing. So I imagine it's gonna hold up just the same because I'm using the same DTF powder that I absolutely love and recommend. All of the supplies that I'm using today, you're gonna find linked below. Now let's go ahead and test out the next one. This one is 8.5 by 11. This is by Yamation. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. So we are gonna go ahead and get this guy out of here. So this is also cold peel. So we're going to check this guy out. And it looks like with this one, it is also glossy. So that is awesome. These are 8.5 by 11. So these are gonna be perfect. So there is that glitter. So they are the glossy, which I love. That's my favorite because it's so much easier to tell what side you're printing on. All right, because you're obviously printing on the matte side. So we're gonna set this guy out of the way. Now, since these are perfect, all I simply have to do is get this guy on here with the matte side up. Line these up. We're using that same piece because once again, you can use it over and over again. And this is obviously even the same paper from my other projects. I just peel the tape off as it gets bad and just replace it. So I'm using the same piece of paper over and over. All right, so we're gonna get ready to load this. Once again, you should have something that looks like this. So we're gonna flip it upside down and put it in the printer. This time we're gonna use that Yamation powder. So I'm gonna use the same powder that goes with that. So far, I have not had any smell or issues with this brand as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get that ready to go. Here we go, dun, 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 dun. All right, so let's pull this guy off of here. Now I do have a little bit of black ink that came off on the top. I don't get that very often, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get it out of the way. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take some of that powder on one end, and then we're just going to go from one side to the next. All right, here we go. So we're just going to make sure this guy is completely coated. Now, if you guys are new to the DTF hack, it is very similar to embossing powder. So if you guys have ever done scrapbooking or anything like that, made cards with embossing powder, it is the exact same. Speaking of embossing powders, I almost forgot I was going to test this for you guys today. I've been getting a lot of requests to use a heat gun because that's how you would melt the embossing powder. And I have seen several people say that they have had extreme success with their heat gun. So we're going to use this one today. So I've actually went ahead and lowered that temp back to the 300 here. So now we have the Cricut Easy Press you can use to cure it. We have the griddle that you can use to cure it. You can use your bigger heat press, the lower platen, to cure it. And now we're going to test out the heat gun. I also will be testing very soon the convection oven, so stay tuned for that. All right, so here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this guy on. I'll probably have to put some music over it because it's going to be loud. I'm going to put it on low, maybe have to bring it up to high, but I'll let you guys know. And I'm going to be real careful and slow and go across. Because with embossing powders, we've always went on top. I was like, should I go on bottom? Should I go on top? We're going to go right on top. So here we go. Normally I have a smaller, this is a Wagner, I'll link it down below. I actually use a smaller one. You could use your crafting one, whatever you have with your heat gun. A hairdryer is not going to get hot enough for you, and it's going to blow too much of this powder around. So I will have this one as well as the other one I normally would use down below. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get it on low. First thing I want to do is kind of let it warm up just a little bit, and then we're going to just get going. I definitely want to hold this down so it doesn't fly, and then we're going to get going. Here we go. So I want to kind of hold it at a little bit of a distance, and it's working. This is awesome. Powders are not blowing everywhere. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring it up to high. It worked! Oh my gosh, I love it. Like I said, it's like embossing powder. Now I'm going to tell you guys that there was a lot of people that tried to cause extreme panic when we first started this DTF hack. Now, like I say, always be mindful, always work in a well-ventilated area when you're working with any sort of chemical. So the thing is, this is very similar to embossing powder. And like I said, if you guys have ever worked with that before, you know how we've been working with it for years, using it for scrapbooking, card making. So definitely make sure, read your product, make sure if it says to wear the proper gear, you definitely do so whenever it comes to like respirators and all of that stuff. But definitely make sure you guys are working in a well-ventilated area. Once again, I have not had any smell from this powder here, just like the powder that I've used before. So far, I do recommend it. All right, so as you can see, it was a success. The only thing is I do have a little bit of, you know, like if you kind of get in one area, it gets a little buckled. But I'm going to see if we have any issue when we go to lay it down, or would you need to kind of keep, you know, going over there until you get it to smooth down just a little bit, because that was a question I've had from a few people about it buckling. So let's just see. Not from this, but even in general of using like the griddle, it means that you got too hot. All right, so here we go. I'm so excited for this. Once again, if you have a crafting heat gun, you're going to be good to go. So let's get ready to press it. For this one, we are going to use a gray one. This is Bella Canvas, and this is just a nice gray t-shirt. So this is very similar to sublimation. You'd want to stick to your lighter garments. If you wanted to do like a darker garment, like a black t-shirt, you could definitely do the DTF hack with white HTB, and I'll have that video linked above or down below. Now let's go ahead and smooth out our t-shirt here. So I'm actually going to be pressing in this direction here. We just want to pull out any sort of wrinkles and smooth everything down. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and find the placement of our design. Our heat press is ready to go as well. So we are going to just let this cool for a second. You definitely don't want to go straight to the hot because it's going to start to melt down your adhesive. So we're going to come down around 4 fingers. You could definitely fold this guy in half. Get a crease mark to figure out the middle, which is your neck tag. We're going to come down around 4 fingers or so. So somewhere right about here looks good to me. Just making sure everything looks nice and straight. We're going to take a couple pieces of that tape once again. All right, who is excited for this? I am pumped. Like I said, you guys let me know down below if you guys will be testing out this hack. Now we're going to go ahead and cover that with parchment. We're going to go right on top, 300 degrees for 20 seconds. We're going to hold down. Now, this is the Yamation brand. We've also tested with the heat gun. So this is using both the powder as well as the film. All right, there we go. Pick it up. Remove our parchment. Once again, this is going to be a cold peel. So we're going to get our t-shirt. We're going to remove that heat pad. And then once again, I have granite, so I'm gonna flip it over, and then we're gonna go ahead and start to get that to cool down much faster. Once again, this process takes around 15 seconds or so, but if you guys have to let it completely cool down on its own, remove that pad, and then it's gonna take about 2 minutes. Here we go, moment of truth. We're gonna get a corner, and it is amazing. So this is just as good as the first brand. Now I will say this is completely my fault with the heat gun. So one thing I wanna notice right here is on that A, a little bit on his leg, a little bit on this A, right where it buckled. So you wanna be careful not to overheat. So I was probably a little too close with that gun right there in that section. So just be mindful for that if you're gonna be doing it with a heat gun, because you're gonna end up with a little bit of distressing like that, which I'm not hating. But that is totally my fault. So let's go ahead and check out the glitter. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. How cute is that? Kind of bring up these colors. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see all of that. I hope that glitter is coming through. It is gorgeous. I love that. And I love the look on the gray. We've actually done another t-shirt on the gray, and it came out so, so good. So between the white and the gray, I'm loving them. I'm going to bring these guys side by side so you can see. I will say the Yamation brand, the second one we just did, has way more glitter than the Off Nova. So you can definitely see that glitter popping through on the Yamation. I'll have both brands down below, as well as both powders and everything that I have used today, so you guys can make this project too. I went ahead and put a parchment paper over it and added that heat press for around 2 to 5 seconds just to smooth everything out, because I did have the little bit of tearing because of that buckle. So I went ahead and did that. So if you ever have that, definitely go over it one more time with a parchment sheet just for 2 to 5 seconds. Just going to smooth everything out to help it through the wash. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and wash both of these just to make sure these glitter sheets are going to hold up. I imagine they will. I've already tested out the powders, and they uphold very, very great. But as you can see on a gray t-shirt, it pops so good. I have to say, I'm super pumped about this DTF hack to be able to add glitter now. So now we have tested, number one, even being able to accomplish DTF with our sublimation, our inkjet printers. We have done it on the dark garments using the HTV in the background. And now we have glitter. We can also peel cold, or we can peel hot. I feel like we've discovered all sorts of different things. So the next thing that we have to test is canvas, wood, glass. We need to test all of the things. So like I said, if there is something that you have been wanting to know if it's going to work, comment down below so I can start to gather all my supplies for that video. Now, if you guys have been here on the channel, you're like, Crystal, where is the Cricut videos? We're ready for some awesome stuff. Stay tuned, because I have some amazing Cricut projects coming up. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to also check out our membership, because we have awesome things going on behind the scenes, early access to my videos, and lots of free printables and fun stuff to come. Also, if you guys are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell down below, so you don't miss any of my crafting tutorials.